right, welcome back to Game Therapy. Today's game is Rampage, or AKA How to Destroy a City. So I remember playing this game in arcade a couple times, like a really just fun, like I'll say kid game. But I also remember getting it on the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, when it came out. I'm gonna be George, the giant gorilla. So to foster my dreams of King Kong. But Lizzie's a lizard and Ralph is the wolf man, but they're all giant and they're all destroying buildings. Now, I am playing solo, so the object of the game actually is with multiple players to see who can do the most damage to the city. And that's again with your score at the top. And you can also fight each other and try to, like, again, because it's just about who can do the most damage. And there are other ways, like, uh, I guess there would be like there are things in the game to kind of slow you down. So like you can find yourself eating poison. The guy here who's dropping a bomb on a building will blow the building before you can destroy it again, limiting the amount of points that you'll get. Um, so yeah, it's just it's the opposite of Tetris. So, but I like it. It's a fun game to me. So, but yeah, I'm just gonna play solo. And in I guess the spirit of uh, the deconstruction that's happening, let's talk a little bit about deconstruction of yourself. You a lot of times, one day, if you get to my age, you'll wake up and you'll realize, hey, I've been doing a lot of stuff that uh, benefits others and not myself. And so deconstruction requires you to be, brutally honest to yourself and trying to figure out why you do what you do. And we can talk about this in another video later on about family of origin, and how that plays a part in who you are, and even how a lot of times you're repeating patterns that you in your other relationships based on your family origin, which is very interesting to me. It's actually kind of a new thing that I've learned, but it's helped me also look at my own history and why I do certain things. But yeah, but let's get back to you and deconstructing who you are and finding out who you are. Um, you know, Early on in your life, finding out who you are is important. That's why we do a lot of things that we do: hang out, try new things, meet different people, and a lot of what we do is predicated on finding out who we are. At least that's what we hope. Um, but for some of us, some of what we do is to try to fit in, to try to get um, something that we didn't get when we were young. That she felt like 10 stories and lived, so I had to eat her. I'm sorry. But um, try to get something that we might have missed when we were younger, and how we deal with, or something that we are just mirroring, as an adult, um, and how we function in life. So, who are you? It seems like an easy question, but it's a very complex question for a lot of people. And there are people who are still finding out who they are today. Um, and that's not a bad thing if you're doing the work. Um, I would say that I recently started to discover who I am and what I like, because I was asked a question like, what do you want to do? That doesn't do anything for anyone else. And though it was a simple question, it was really hard because I spent a lot of time always considering other people's feelings, always considering what people want, or what I thought they wanted from me, to be okay with me. And so taking the time to deconstruct myself, they just bought in one tank, and I'm trying to duck, but I realize I can't. I'm sorry. um, Figuring out who I am, what I really want in this life, what I really want for myself, has been one of the important things I've been on. I would say this journey the last 2 years of my life, and it's been interesting, ups and downs, but for the most part, I think it's great. I've done a lot of things, experienced a lot of things in the last 2 years, for myself, that I probably wouldn't have tried if I was not asked a question. Um, what makes me happy? What, what are the things that what do I want to do? Like, when it comes, again, not thinking about anyone else, not thinking about, how to make someone else, how to make someone else's vision or feelings, matter. Like understanding that my feelings matter. So deconstructing myself in the point of, one, why was I doing that? What was I getting out of it, or what did I think I was getting out of it? Because I wasn't really getting anything out of it when it came to actually thinking about it. And again, dealing with who I am. Do I even really know? Have I ever really asked myself, what is it I want? And so I got these last 2 years to try. I just did a lot of stuff that I wanted to try, not worrying about what other people thought, not worrying about um, the consequences to other people, and how they viewed me. It was just, these are the things I want to do. Like, I got some tattoos, like, which is something I would say, I never thought I would do, but I did, and I designed my own tattoos and got them, and it's they're great. I really love them, and I'm an artistic person in a sense. I like to um, come up with concepts. Even though I don't work exclusively as an artist, it's always been a part of who I was. I've always drawn. I've always written. I've always had a very active imagination, and it was a way for me getting the tattoos. It was a way for me again to express that piece of me that I almost, well, I kind of lost. And again, dealing with you know um, worrying about what other people thought, or worrying about life, because life tends to get in the way. um, but yeah, so discovering again, who I am, the things that I always did. I remember having a conversation with a friend, about this process, and um, how it's changed me, in so many ways, and even how whereas before I would say I might have been afraid to express how I feel, even based on worrying about what somebody would thought. Like, this process has made it easier for me to express how I feel, and basically not give a crap, about what somebody is thinking, because when you think about it, everybody else expresses their opinions, freely, without worrying, and worrying about what other people's feelings are. And I would never do that, and getting to a point where I felt free, one, safe enough with myself and free enough in myself to just be able to say, this is what I'm feeling. And also, um, one of the things I noticed too is now like people will say um, I'm less accommodating um, than before, which is what I was told that would probably happen when I started this process. But really, all that means is I don't let people walk over me, and I think that's a good thing. I think that anybody who gets accustomed to walking over somebody, to treating somebody, as treating somebody's emotion as they doesn't matter, I think they are the problem. Um, and they really need to begin to look at themselves. If you're okay with, being able to use somebody in that manner, um, and not have a second thought about it, you know, you probably have some questions you need to ask yourself. Um, but I'm also realizing that a lot of people just aren't that introspective, and want to do whatever they want to do, and use people regardless, and feel they're justified and entitled to. Um, so as a person on my end, it's I have to have the requirement of protecting myself from the type of people, um, and so being being able to say no was like a very big thing for me, or tell people to that I'll think about it, and really think about what I'm gaining out of the situation versus what I thought they wanted me to say, or what was the safe option. So yeah, I've been doing this work for the last 2 years, and I'm continuing to do it. And I would encourage anybody to, if you feel like, because a big thing of this is like, at some point you feel like you're not being heard, or you don't matter, in a sense, um, to people, um, in your life. But part of that is, are you are you there for people? Are you being there for people for a reason? Like, what are you getting out of this? Like, again, you have to ask yourself the hard questions. And I'm all for people asking themselves hard questions. And some of it you're not going to have the answer to, like at the moment. But ask the question. Like, again, why are you doing what you're doing? What are you getting out of it? And what are you doing for yourself? What do you want? And I believe that's the question that got me, is like, well, what do I want? Because I've been living, um, trying to please other people for XYZ reason, And again, like I said, we can talk about this in a different video about family of origin, that kind of thing. But you know, I'm proud of myself. Um, I know I have some friends in my corner who are very proud of what I've accomplished, and they see the change in me. There are some people who weren't happy with the change, and they are decided not to be in my life. But part of this process is being okay with that, learning to deal with that kind of loss, and be okay that, yeah, some people realize that they, once they're not the best thing in the only thing in your world, they get upset, and but that's not your problem. So coming to terms with that, dealing with that, is one of the things I had to learn, cope, and also better coping skills, with what in dealing with certain things. That was part of the reason also I started the process, was, what I was doing, how I coped with things. I knew it stopped. It wasn't working anymore, and so I had to get to a point where it was like, well, what coping measure? Like, how am I gonna be okay? In 10 years, what is it gonna look like? in 20 years, what is it going to be like? Again, that's part of asking like questions, like, the hard question, and repeating the same pattern, doesn't work. So I have to do something different. I have to become something different if I'm going to continue to function, as a well as a well human being, and again, deconstruction. Why are you doing what you're doing? Another important piece is to have somebody to talk to about this. If you have friends, family, somebody you're close to, because this is going to get to the core of who you are. Somebody you trust, deeply, and I would even say therapists, get you a therapist if you don't have one to be able to talk about this. But